What is up, guys? It's your boy Zach here from the Bluebloods, bringing y'all today's 2 minute drill, man. Our boy B Dub will be back with me tomorrow and for the rest of the week on the 2 minute drill. No official episode today, but I couldn't leave y'all hanging on the 2 minute drill. Plus, we got some huge news concerning one of the top prospects from this past 2021 class, and with the dead period and everything like that, one of the top prospects in the class, JT Tuimoloau, announced that he was going to take his time. He was going to wait for him to be able to take his official visits, everything like that, and he's announced where he's going to go for his official visits now, and it's really a game changer. I mean, this kid for 247 alone, just 247. He's the number one player for 247. Has a 100 grading, 5-star kid. And for the composite, he's third in the composite, second ranked defensive lineman, first out of the state of Washington. And he's the 24th highest rated recruit all time in terms of the 247 composite. So it just shows you that how talented this kid really is. I always use the composite. That's why down below I got third overall, second defensive line. You got to take everyone into account, but 247 does it better than anyone. So for them to have him number one shows how much they really like him. I mean, he plays both ways too. How often do you see a defensive lineman who's 6'5", 280 play both ways? This kid also plays wide receiver, guys. I mean, and Brandon Huffman from 247 did his scouting report, has him as a projected top 10 pick in the future. And his pro comparison is Cameron Hayward. Pretty significant there. I mean, he's also a huge basketball player. He's averaging a double-double in his high school career. And I mean, this guy at that size can drop back and play coverage as a defensive end. So it really shows that this kid is just an absolute monster. But we didn't do this topic to break him down as a prospect critique or anything like that. This all has to do with official visits. So he announced his top 5, I believe, in January, if I'm not mistaken. And his top 5 right now: Washington, USC, Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama are his top 5. And so a lot of people were sitting here wondering, where's not only where, but when is he going to officially visit a lot of these places? Well, he's announced that now. And I think, based on his schedule, guys, I think it's a very clear where he's leaning. And I think his official visit schedule gave one school a huge, I'm talking huge advantage into landing this kid come the end of this official visit cycle, get him on campus at the end of summer camp, probably July-ish. But JT, man, he's going to kick it off at the Washington June 4th through the 6th. So let's start with Washington here. What could they get from him? He's from Washington. So this is huge for Jimmy Lake. So Jimmy Lake is a defensive-minded coach. He's, trying to get Washington to reach the heights they've reached under Chris Peterson. This is going to really be the first time that Jimmy Lake gets judged. Can you keep those elite Washington prospects in state? You land Sam Heward, but that's a legacy guy who was probably going to commit to Washington regardless of what you did. And, they get the first official visit. He took he visited back, I think, January of 2020. He was there for junior day. This was the first school to offer him. They offered him in football in 2017. He's also got an offer in terms of basketball. So that's huge too. I think this is a huge, huge, huge test for Jimmy Lake, but he's going up against some steep competition, and I'm very interested to see how they pull this off. But they get the first official visit, and I think he'll step in for this team and start right away. And then you got USC, guys, June 14th through the 16th, and his mother's from down there. He has family there. He was at 7-on-7, but they also signed Corey Foreman. So if they can land JT pair him with Corey Foreman, it would give USC a disgusting defense line. They'd probably put them at the top of the Pac-12. Yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau is up there in Oregon, but I mean, they don't have two players of this caliber. And I think you would see both of these guys start right away. And you would have to kind of bump USC up in terms of being right there with Oregon in terms of who is going to challenge for that Pac-12 title. And Oregon is going to be real tough to beat. But if you combine JT and Corey Foreman on the edge, on that defensive line, it is going to be just a whole lot of problem for a lot of offensive line, especially when you get, let's say, 3 years down the line, when they're both juniors. If they both develop properly, I'm talking about you might have one of the best defensive end duos that we have ever seen in college football. That's the kind of level of dominance that we can see from USC if they land him. Now, to get the two Pac-12 schools out of the way, or two of the three that he's considering, the next one's interesting. Ohio State, June 18th through 20th. This is the leader in the crystal ball. A lot of people think Ohio State's in the catbird seat, but to only land third in terms of when he's going to visit, I think is a huge telltale sign that this race is not as cut and dry as some experts may lead you to believe. It's going to be so crucial for Ohio State to really try to seal the deal if they can on this visit, because he's got two elite recruiters after him, two elite schools. And, you know, they already have the number one player in 2021, number two player in Washington in this class. They got his teammate with G. Scott Jr. Ohio State has a lot going for them. They need defensive line. They didn't have that. They had some solid defensive line, but they didn't have that elite Chase Young level pass rusher. They didn't have the Bosas. And JT would offer an immediate upgrade on that defensive line. And to get him to Ohio State is a big step in getting them back into the national championship hunt. I think a lot of people seem to be overlooking Ohio State. A lot of the preseason hype is going to Oklahoma. It's going to Georgia. It's going to Alabama. This would immediately be like, man, if that kid comes in to compete for a starting job, you got to look at Ohio State in a much, better light. And I think Ryan Day is going to just pull out all the stops. They have to try to land this kid because I think this is one of their bigger needs, especially if you can combine him with Jack Sawyer on the defensive line. I mean, you're talking about the same thing with Corey Foreman over at USC. You would have one of the best defensive lines in the country with those two guys. And we already saw Sawyer just absolutely wreck in the spring game, and he looks to be every part of the deal. I think JT's the real deal. And so you would have two instant impact guys on that defensive line that would immediately make the rest of the Big Ten and even in the country be like, man, them boys over there in Buckeye Land are doing something serious. And so that's his first two visits. And so for me, his last two visits, I think the favorite is last. But I think an underrated school that no one's really talking about, that I feel like isn't getting enough credit for their opportunity to land him, is the Oregon Ducks are 4, June 20th through June 22nd. He's been to it recently. He went to in April when they had spring practice open to the public. So he made that spring game appearance. It's also the last school that JT visited for a game. He went in the fall of 2019. They're going to get the final chance. And, for this school to be placed last among the Pac-12 schools is huge. So if he doesn't want to leave that West Coast, I think Oregon definitely has the best shot. And I think they have the best selling point right now in terms of a player you want to play with in Kayvon Thibodeau. Yes, Corey Foreman's great. Yes, Jack Sawyer's great. Very unproven. Same age as him. They're going to say, man, all we need you to do is come in and be yourself. Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be the guy. No pressure on you to deliver anything spectacular this year. And, I mean, let's be honest, guys. Going to play with the player, the caliber of Kayvon Thibodeau, is going to be huge. You also got two 5-star linebackers in Justin Flo and Noah Sewell back there. You have the secondary. You have Mario Cristobal that has shown that he can pull these rabbits out of his hat and land these big 5-star guys on the West Coast. And so I don't think you can count Oregon out on this race. I really, really think Oregon is right there with Ohio State in that 2 spot for landing JT. And so for me, this last visit says it all, man. It really does. And it pains me to say it, the Alabama Crimson Tide, the reigning national champions, have found a way to land the last visit June 25th through June 27th. And listen, yeah, y'all see the Auburn jerseys in the background, Auburn alum here. There is no way, just in my opinion, I say Ohio State, Oregon's too, because anything can happen in this wild world of recruiting. If you give Nick Saban the final shot, he's gonna hit it. Let's be honest. He is so clutch. He has all the momentum in the world. He's like, I just want another national championship. He said, why don't you just point to the list on the wall of all the players that wound up in the NFL? Let me just pour out my box of rings that I've won at LSU, at Alabama. I mean, he has so much to do. He said, I can even pour out the Super Bowl rings where I was on the staff of the Giants. He has everything going for him. And so I know people are like, well, I don't know if he wants to leave home and everything. There's so many California kids on that roster, so many West Coast kids on that roster that he's not going to feel out of place at all. Alabama has more momentum on the recruiting trail than ever. And I really think JT, if he wants, can look around him and say, man, look at that, man. I'll have the best defensive end in the country. I'll have the best linebackers behind me. I'll have the best secondary. I'll have the best head coach. What else do you want? And the thing he has going for him too is outside of Jimmy Lake, what other head coach is a defensive head coach? I mean, Mario Cristobal coached O-line. You look at Clay Helton, been an offensive coordinator. Jimmy Lake, yeah, defensive back coach just like Saban. But I mean, Ryan Day, offensive-minded head coach. So I think he can relate to those two coaches on a more personal level, which the thing about Jimmy Lake is he doesn't have the credentials that Nick Saban have. I mean, let's be honest. Does anyone think that Nick Saban can get this kid in the building last and be the last word in his ear and everything like that and not land him? I just want y'all to be honest with me. I want y'all to comment below. I don't care what kind of fan you are or anything like that. Do you really think Nick Saban, given the last shot of a kid with this caliber, is going to miss? I find it very hard to believe unless there's a card that he hid up under the table that he can pull on me and change that up. I mean, for me, if I had to rank them right now, to be completely honest, Alabama's 1 for me in terms of landing JT. 2, I would probably put Oregon. I think they're being slept on right now in terms of the talent surrounding him, the momentum of that program, and being the best Pac-12 program left on his board. 3, I think you could put Ohio State. 4, Washington, just because of the hometown, and they might even jump Ohio State. And then 5, USC. I just don't really see them having a shot. I know playing with Corey Foreman, it's got to be somewhat interesting, but let's be honest. USC hasn't been able to close the deal with many prospects like Corey Foreman or JT. They've missed on a lot more than they've hit on in recent years. So I don't trust Clay Helton to close the job. I don't trust USC to close the job, especially with the second visit out of 5. Washington being at 1 doesn't stress me too much because it's the closest and it's the least stressful. And like he probably knows everything he wants to about the program. But man, it still probably doesn't look good. If Oregon would have been last or Ohio State been last, maybe Washington sleeps a little easier. Jimmy Lake sleeps a little easier at night. But knowing you have the GOAT, 3 days with the GOAT in his office, all those players in his ear on that campus, looking at all the awesome facilities they have, all the national championship trophies, everything like that, man, it doesn't look good. So it's like watching a scary movie and you're like, man, like, don't go in the closet. Like, yeah, there could be nothing in that closet, but there's probably something in that closet if we're going to be honest with each other here. And it's just like, man, why are you going to do that? Like, it just, if I'm Jimmy Lake right now in Washington, just go ahead, pack up the suitcases, head out, and, save some money on this official visit because I would be absolutely shocked if JT did not commit to Alabama after these official visits are over. When you get Alabama going up last, man, he's going to be tough to beat. Nick Saban's clutch. He's the GOAT for a reason. And I think Alabama is going to land this kid and just strengthen the arguably the best football team that or the best football program that we've seen in maybe ever in college football. So, guys, comment below what y'all think of JT as a prospect, what you guys think of his official visit lineup, and where do you think he's going to land? Tell me why in the comments, man. I love hearing y'all's opinion, interact with y'all in the comments. But got a huge announcement, guys. I know might not apply. We talked a lot of Alabama in this episode, so I don't know how much support I'll get from that. But your boy took a role as a contributor for Fly War Eagle, part of the fan-sided network. I'm going to be a writer there. Won't affect the Blue Bloods at all. But, man, if you're interested in any Auburn content, man, make sure to go check us out and check all my work out, man. I'll appreciate any and all y'all support. Even if you're not an Auburn fan and just want to support your boy, I appreciate it. Um, I'm very excited, as y'all know, big Auburn dude here. So just to have a chance to cover my team is huge for me, and I am so looking forward to bringing some awesome content to Fly War Eagle, man. And it's always War Eagle for me. But guys, that's a wrap here on the Blue Bloods and the 2-minute drill. I hope y'all have a wonderful Memorial Day, man. Make sure to subscribe now to the podcast. Get you some sick merch that you can rock, I guess, next Memorial Day, next holiday. Go ahead and get it now. That way you can get to the 4th of July. Subscribe for the free giveaway at the next benchmark, which is 300 subscribers. But we're on that road to 1K, baby. Hashtag road to 1K here on the Blue Bloods. I appreciate all of y'all, man. Y'all have a wonderful holiday, and I will see y'all tomorrow. But for myself, the Blue Bloods, and the 2-minute drill, guys, I am out.